Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 30th April 2020. Day is Thursday. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Muhammad Ali. He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. Courage is one of the basic things that we need. I believe, and I have heard this thing somewhere, that to step out of your bed as well in the morning, you need courage. That is very small thing, but it requires huge amount of courage to step out of your bed because, we feel like let's nap for 10 more minutes or maybe half an hour more extra, but only those courageous people can step out of their bed at right time. So there is a difference between being courageous and fearlessness, right? Fearlessness is a state where there is no fear. But being courageous is something that is more practical. I don't know whether we can attain fearlessness or not, right? Many mystics, they have talked about fearlessness. But as far as practical life is concerned, as far as common way of living is concerned, our common lives are concerned, right? Being courageous is moving ahead. You know that there are fears, but then as well, you move ahead. That's what courageous or being courageous is all about. With this, dear friends, we have 5 articles on our table. But before that, I would like to introduce all of you to our smart courses. StudyIQ has launched a smart course for Civil Services Examination. This smart course is designed by some of the best faculties of our country. This smart course covers both pre and mains examination. You have this payment option. EMI is also available. And to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application on your mobile phone. 5 articles. The first one is about online learning. Second one is about our strategy to fight coronavirus. Third one is about India and Afghanistan peace process. Fourth one is about this opinion coming from 2 experts. They are talking about the things that we need to do tomorrow. That means after lockdown. And the fifth one is about women, right? A greater impact on women. This one is by Antonio Guterres. Before we move ahead, if you want to know from where you can download the PDF of today's lecture, I have seen this thing in comment section, like students are inquiring about PDF from where they can download it. So you have to go through the lecture. Every single day I do tell you people that you can download the PDF from my Telegram channel. Telegram is a mobile application, right? You have to download this app and then you have to search for this channel, right? If you search for Prashant Mavani, then you will find this channel. Join this channel and then you will find all my videos and PDFs. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. The most important thing is please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is StudyIQ. Limitations of online learning. Now, this article, limitations of online learning, is more about academic world. When I say academic world, I'm talking about schools and colleges. But there are a few points that you can apply on your competitive exam preparation as well. I'm not saying that online learning platform is a perfect tool and physical platform as well. It is not a perfect tool. Pros and cons. You have some good things about online learning. You have some negative points for online learning. Same thing applies for physical classes or physical setup as well. But there are a few points in physical setup that we cannot ignore. We are going to talk about it as well. So even when the lockdown gets lifted eventually, the government may not allow large congregations in restricted physical spaces, including campuses, schools, colleges, etc. A few universities made arrangements for teachers to hold their classes virtually through video conferencing services such as Zoom. Zoom became very famous and Zoom was in news as well. If you are using Zoom, then let me tell you that you should not. The reason is that Ministry of Home Affairs has also said that it is not safe to use Zoom. But there are other apps that are available. You can go for it if you want. If your local teachers or if there are schools and educational institutions, if they are conducting, or if you are a teacher and if you want to conduct some classes like your students, school and colleges students, then there are other apps that are available. You should search for those apps. Now, this article is the reason why we are finding this article on our table is because on 13th April, UGC chairman said that E-education was the only way out. So there is a big question. What is our long-term strategy? Means, let's say after 5 years, or maybe for time being, as far as lockdown will continue, online education or this virtual classes are going to take place, and they are going on in various different schools. And in fact, when I say schools, I mean to say that various different school teachers and college teachers, they are conducting classes online at present. So things are going on, but there are so many pros and cons for this thing. There are a few experts, a few teachers who have good experience of teaching online. They know about pros and cons. They know how to create reduce weaknesses and increase strengths. For example, one weakness of online classes can be that you don't know who is a weak student, right? If you are in a practical class, let's say your teacher, just imagine your school days, right? Teachers were very well aware about those students who were not regular in their homeworks, who were weak in maths or any other subject, So this is possible when you have a physical interaction, when you can see each other face to face. So this sort of benefits are there of physical classes. And this is a negative point for online education, that you don't know who is your weak student. But there are a few positive points as well. Like, say, for example, let's talk about this lecture. This lecture, you can watch it in the morning time. You can watch it anytime you like. You can watch it tomorrow as well. And you can watch it after 1 year as well. So this is available. I think forever, if I can say, forever or for a very long period of time. You can go back and watch any lecture that is available online. But that is not possible for these physical classes. Then there is one more question, like how equipped are digital forms of education to support depth and diversity of learning in higher education? Is there an unstated political motivation for this shift in strategy? As far as political motivation is concerned, we are going to talk about this thing. Let me throw this point right now, right? Let's talk about this one. Institutions of open and distance learning, ODL, established during 1960s to 80s, mid 1960s to 80s, this open universities, they played a very important role in providing less expensive model of education plus distance learning. And this open learning, or this open and distance learning, provided this access to various different students to higher education. So these are a few positive points associated with this open and distance learning, and there are this sort of positive points are there for this online education as well, that so many people, they get so many students can learn from online platforms. There is no limit to numbers, right? There are various different ways, like, say, for example, this lecture, anyone can watch it with internet connection and a YouTube application, or you can go online and watch it, right? You know how it works. So there is no limit to this thing. Whereas physical classes, there you have some limits. But it is also important to go through some research-based evidence about the pro of physical learning. And this article is basically trying to say that this is not an end of physical classes. And if we are thinking that it is going to be an end, then we are, I think, making a big mistake. And if you ask me personally, then I would say, particularly for school, colleges and universities, physical classes are very important. If you can conduct a few classes online, that's fine. But if you are thinking to get rid of this physical classes altogether, then I think, this is my personal opinion, I think that is one of the biggest mistake, because books or lectures, when I say lectures, I mean to say this material, right? Reading material, books, this are one of the sources, but they are not the ultimate source. That does not mean that books are not good. Of course, books are one of the most important thing, one of the most important tool for learning. But alone books cannot do anything. Just imagine a person who has just read books, but he or she does not have any sort of experience about practical world. Then, you will find a limitation in that person. So we need a fine balance. There are so many things that you can learn from books. There are so many things that you can learn from reading material. But at the same time, when you interact with your peers means your classmates, when you interact with your college mates, your schoolmates, you learn so many things. You play together, you fight, you don't speak, you speak with each other, you cooperate. you don't cooperate. All these things are part of our development. So practical skills are most important. It creates a sort of curiosity in you, right? There are so many opportunities when you go outside, when you visit your school or college, right? Every single day you're exposed to so many so many of possibilities are there, so many things that you can learn. So these are a few things that online education or online learning cannot provide. So physical interaction is one of the most. We can do virtual discussions. These things are beneficial as well, but still that practical thing is, I believe, most important. So yes, for time being, we can rely on online platform. There is nothing wrong with it. But as far as schools, as far as colleges, universities are concerned, right, classes are going to be there, and they will be there for a very long period of time, as far as I know, right? That's what I think. You can have your own opinion about it, and there are a few limitations of online learning. As far as this article is concerned, all the points are covered, but I would like to add some more points here, because education is a topic that you find many times. You find essays on this topic, you find general studies questions on education. So a research was conducted. These are some add-on points. A research was conducted in Delhi University, in Hyderabad University. For example, Hyderabad University, there were like 2,500 in-house survey was conducted of students. And though 90% of the respondents have a mobile phone, about 63% of them could only access online classes infrequently or not at all. Interestingly, among the concerns raised about online instruction, 40% reported unreliable connectivity as being a major deterrent, while 30% cited the cost of data. And significantly, 10% reported uncertain electricity supply as a big concern. Applies to this example. Recently, Delhi University asked one of its teacher that he should conduct online classes during this lockdown. So the teacher tried his level best, right? Connection was not that good in his village, but then as well he was using this Zoom and he tried to teach students. Connection was not that good, and the next day what happened is that his village lost electricity for 3 continuous days. So there was means you cannot run your mobile phone. His battery was gone. So these are the hurdles that we find in our country. Similar in-house survey was conducted with students of Delhi University, and their concerns were similar to the concerns of students of University of Hyderabad. Niti Aayog, in its strategy for New India at 75 report, has highlighted quality and reliability of internet as a major bottleneck. It went on to point out that 55,000 villages in our country are without mobile network coverage. So one size fits all approach will not help India. If we think that we will get rid of all colleges and schools of physical classes altogether, then that is not possible for a country like India, because we have to fix this technological thing as well. Internet and electricity should be available 24/7 in each and every corner, just like air and water. And though water is not available everywhere, but still I'm just giving you an example, like air, for example, 24/7, electricity and internet. And the cost of this electricity as well as internet should be affordable. That is also most important thing. And then comes this barrier of language. Many students are not comfortable with English, and most of the material that we find online is in English language. So these are a few challenges, right? I want you guys to keep these points in your mind. If you encounter a question or an essay topic on online education, then these points will help you. With this strategic shift, easy to understand article, this one I believe is, right, this one is an editorial in fact. So on 28th April, only 130 districts. In our country, we have total 736 districts. Out of that, only 130 were affected by this coronavirus a month ago. But now we have 401 districts. Severity is not similar, right? You find a sort of variety. Few of them are in red zones, but At least 401 districts are affected by this coronavirus, and at present the death cases per day is somewhere around 50 to 60. 1,000 new cases are coming every single day. Early on, when we were a month ago, strategy was quarantine, and people were asked to stay in care centers, and those noticeably sicker, they were shifted to hospitals. But now government has changed its strategy. In a containment strategy tweak, those with a mild form of disease or a pre-symptomatic would have the option of home quarantining. But for that, you need to have a proper room. You should have someone who will provide you food and other things, right? So if these things are available, then home quarantining is something that is supported by government. Now, why government has not, or health ministry has not explained the main reason behind this relaxation. One thing is there that more and more cases of pre-symptomatic as well as asymptomatic cases are being found in our country. Pre-symptomatic basically means mild illness, and asymptomatic means no sign at all. The ministry also found that among those who tested positive, there were 2 pre-symptomatics or asymptomatics for every symptomatic case in our country. So the disease is spreading, and the biggest hurdle or the biggest issue of this disease or concern is that rising number of pre-symptomatic and asymptomatic cases. Because if I don't know if I am infected by coronavirus, then I will take it a bit lightly, and then I will meet other people. They will feel the same, that this person is clean. But then later on, if test is conducted, then I will realize that, okay, I am asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic. And by time I have infected so many people. So this is a big challenge. As far as papers are concerned or figures are concerned, it is said that we have enough personal protective equipment, this ventilators or infusion pumps, hospital beds, laboratories for testing, PCR kits, etc. But only after lockdown, we will know the real nature of its spread. As we know that there are so many people who are never, so far they are not tested, and there are many people who might have this coronavirus. Yesterday we were talking about this thing. Remember that one of the doctors said that there will be somewhere around 250,000 cases in our country at present, but we have not tested this many people at present. So this is the reason why the official numbers are not here. Afghan peace and India's elbow room. Very important article. Recently, a group was formed by United Nations Secretariat. You have 6 + 2 + 1. This is the name of the group. So 6 here represents this neighboring countries of Afghanistan: China, Iran, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. No India here. Why no? We'll try to answer this question as well. We'll try to find the answer of this question. So as you can see here, you have Iran, then Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. This is China, sharing a very tiny border with Afghanistan. This is India here, but India is not counted. This portion is POK, but that is not the reason that India is not part of this, why India is not considered as a neighbor, right? And of course, then you have this Pakistan sharing a very long border with this country called Afghanistan. So the main reason why we are not on board, we will go through it in few minutes. Stay with me for time being. Then this 2 represents 2 global powers, USA and Russia, and the one is Afghanistan itself. And this is not the first time that India is left out. Back in 2001, our then special envoy, Satinder Lamba, he arrived in Germany's Petersburg hotel near Bonn. Bonn is a big city of Germany. And when this special envoy with his team, when they landed over there, they realized that there was no hotel booking for our team. Can you believe this thing? This is a big insult for our country. Then back in 2010, January, London conference, India was left out. There was no room for India. When I say room, I mean to say that when there was this crucial meeting was going on, there was no chair or table or a position in table, or a dedicated place in table was reserved for our country. And this is the third time we are finding this thing. India is a very good friend of Afghanistan, as we all know, right? India has been there for Afghanistan for a very long period of time. And the reason why we are not on board is because this fact that New Delhi has never announced its support for US Taliban peace process. India has clearly stated early on as well, our stance is clear that We do not engage. When I say engage, I mean to say we do not chat with terrorist groups. That's what India has openly said, and India has sticked to this rule, this principle. And now USA wants to exit Afghanistan as quickly as possible. It wants to pull out its troop as quickly as possible, and for that USA is having a direct discussion with a terrorist organization, Taliban. And India is not a country that will have a word with Taliban till now, right? I'm not sure about future. In past, there was one incident which is not covered in this article, but I would like to discuss this thing with you guys here. That a couple of years ago, there was a demand. Beg your pardon. There was a conference held in Russia, and India sent two envoys, right? Two retired bureaucrats were sent there to attend that meeting. So India was there on the table. Taliban was also there. USA was there. Russia was there. But we were just a spectator and listener, right? We never provided any input because we believe in this thing that we will never engage or have a discussion with terrorist organizations. So this is just one example. So 2011, if we come back to this thing, that relationship between Afghanistan and India, then 2011, India and Afghanistan, they signed this strategic partnership agreement with each other. This was a big thing. And India has been there in Afghanistan for a very long period of time. Remember this recent attack on a Gurudwara? It is said that this was meant for an embassy, Indian embassy in Kabul. But for whatever reason, right, this terrorist, they struck this Gurudwara in Kabul, which is very unfortunate as far as our entry or our presence in Afghanistan is concerned. Since 2001, we have done so many things in Afghanistan. Education, healthcare, right, infrastructure projects, trade and food, security, liberal access to Afghans to study, train and work in India. Three big things that we have created over there. Afghanistan's parliament, their highway, right, Zarang Dilaram highway, very important highway. And then you have this Salma Dam, officially known as Afghanistan-India Friendship Dam. This was created by India as well. And if you ask people of Afghanistan, then you will find a very good respect. They respect Indian people. I'm not talking about Taliban. I'm talking about these normal citizens of Afghanistan. They love Indians. They have this connection with India, right? And we have built this Chabahar port as well. So as far as Chabahar is concerned, USA has accepted this Chabahar port, right? This Chabahar is in Iran and USA, the relationship. But then as well, USA has accepted because India played a very important role here, and it provides a sort of exit route, entry and exit point as far as this Afghanistan's connection with the globe is concerned, waterways is concerned. Then Chabahar is a very important point for Afghanistan. So from Chabahar, you can use rail and road and cater this whole country, and Afghanistan's exports can reach to different parts of the world via Chabahar port. So USA has accepted this thing. Now USA is on this list of countries 6+2+1, and Iran is also there. So we don't know how things will roll out, but India can play a very important role. India has good relationship with Iran as well as USA. So we can, the way we played a mediatory role in Chabahar port, in the same way we can play a very important role in creating a bridge between Iran and USA. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, right, we can get them on table. If USA can have discussion with Taliban, then of course USA can have discussion with Iran. But for that, India has to play an important role. It is also said that there is one new group active in this region. It is called ISKP, Islamic State of Khorasan Province, and this is supported by Pakistan, right? So there are this sort of challenges as well. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to appoint a special envoy. We need to have a dedicated person who will specifically look after this Afghanistan peace process from our side. Moving on to coping with today, planning for tomorrow, there are a few questions that this article is asking, like, does a negative PCR swab test rule out the infection? Can patients become reinfected? Of course, we have seen cases from South Korea, China, etc. do masks for the public help? Will an early vaccine release help the pandemic? Is plasma therapy an answer? Yesterday we were going through this article, this news item, that plasma therapy is not an ultimate solution. Still something that is going on, research is going on plasma therapy. Now we need to understand that lockdown has helped only to slow down the progression. It cannot eradicate or eliminate coronavirus. The real problem will start once the lockdown gets over. After that, we will see a proper surge in the number of cases, right? And that's a very, a threatening statement that we have to end lockdown, but after lockdown, things may, the numbers or this, it can skyrocket. So that's a big thing that we have to be careful about. Now, this article is also talking about herd immunity. Either we need to have vaccine or we need to develop this herd immunity. Herd immunity is risky as well. And there is this important statement that not everyone is on the same boat as far as this storm is concerned. Poor, vulnerable section, they are struggling with their food and water and other necessity. There are few people who have lost their as far as food and other things are concerned, they have these things, but they have lost their business, and they have created huge amount of, this lockdown has created huge amount of loss for their business. Many startups, they will never start. Many businesses, it will take years or 2 years for them to get back to normal situation. Many people, they have lost their jobs. So everyone directly, indirectly affected with this coronavirus, they have their own challenges. Most important thing is trust in government. Now, this trust can be created if government improves its emergency health response. If government can produce some positive results, if government can communicate properly, then only people will trust government. And this is the right time for politicians, for the government, for those executives, for those parliamentarians, to create a positive and a progressive politics of our country. This is not about grabbing opportunities, this is about cooperation. And Thomas Sowell has said that there are no solutions to managing a crisis of this nature. It's only trade-offs. Trade-offs basically means that you have to give and take. You have to let go a few things. You will not get a perfect solution, but there are a few things with which you have to live. There are a few pains with which you have to live. As far as this coronavirus is concerned, not about your health, I'm talking about just coronavirus situation. Like societies, we have to, like for example, lockdown of elderly people is going to be something common, right? They may not enjoy that freedom, but to survive, to stay alive, they have to. So there are a few trade-offs that we have to do. Moving on to last item, the greater impact on women. This article is written by United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. He's talking about the situation of domestic violence. In normal times, if domestic violence takes place, then the girl or the daughter-in-law can give a call to her friend or family members and they can rescue her. But this is not possible because of this lockdown. So there are so many ladies, right? They are suffering this domestic violence because of this lockdown, and the risks are quite high. And that's a very sad thing. And this is not just about our country. These reports are coming from various different parts of the world. So that's a very threatening as well as very unfortunate thing that is going on. As far as responsibilities are concerned, right, women are loaded with more responsibilities compared to men, because in lockdown they have to cook, clean, everything is on them. United Nations partnership with European Union, they have this initiative called Spotlight Initiative. This is a very important GK information, general knowledge sort of information. I want you guys to remember this thing, that Spotlight Initiative is between United Nations and European Union. It is working with 25 countries, governments of 25 countries, in improving the situation of women. Now, if you go through politics, if you go through street vendors, if you go through this domestic workers, casual laborers, right, small scale services like hairdressers, you will find that these poor paid jobs, most of them are done by women. In fact, agriculture as well, agricultural laborers, you will find most of them are women. So when it comes to unorganized sector, when it comes to no security jobs or informal jobs. We find so many women are working here, and we know that the greatest impact of this lockdown is going to be on this informal sector. The International Labour Organization estimates that nearly 200 million jobs will be lost in next 3 months alone, many of them in this unorganized sector or less paid. That we find this partiality, that men are paid more compared to women for the same job. So already women were not in that strong position, and this sort of situation has created more hurdles for them. So it is very important that we create proper environment, right? And Ujjwala Yojana is a Yojana that comes into my mind when I want to give a best example of a scheme. A few days ago, one of the students was asking in this comment section that why on paper schemes are good, but why when it comes to practicality they are not good. The thing is, if your scheme is genuinely good on paper, then chances of its implementation will improve in the ground as well. Means it will produce result. I'll give you one example. This Ujjwala Yojana, I find Ujjwala as well as Jandhan. Jandhan is also very easy, and one of the famous Yojana or scheme is because earlier on, if you want to open a bank account, you need to have so many documents. You need to have one reference as well. So that was a very lengthy process. But in Jandhan, just your ID will help you open a bank account. So things were made a bit easier because a poor person was not having any sort of a proper ID, right? He was not having a passport. He was not having a driving license. But he was having few things like voter ID card. You can use that voter ID card and have a bank account, and that worked because the person who designed this scheme, the officer, whoever has designed this Jandhan, he kept this small points, small yet very profound points in mind. In the same way, this Ujjwala Yojana, you get connection in the name of the lady of the house, right? The mother's name or daughter-in-law's name. So this will create that respect, right, in that house. It will save time for that lady because it is the lady's lot. They go out to fetch this wood for food, for fuel, for cooking, right, for your chulas. And they get snake bites, and they get many times they face some criminals as well, rapes. We find cases like that as well. They have to take their kids as well. So it was quite challenging. But when this whole connection was given in the name of the lady, then or this lady in the house, or mother or daughter-in-law, right? So this created a sort of proper place that government is paying special attention to ladies. So these are the things that we need to. This is just one example. So we can apply this same thing with a stimulus package, right? For loans and bailouts, credit transfers, cash, etc. should be targeted at women. That's what Antonio Guterres is saying. With this, dear friends, you can see few news items, right? I want you guys to download this PDF and go through this news headlines, and then open your newspaper and go through this headlines in detail, right? Today we are out of time, so I'm being a bit quick here. I have two questions for you guys. The Mekong flows from China to how many countries? Name all those countries. And to name the countries that share land boundary with Poland. And that's everything in today's discussion. I will see you with daily financial news analysis. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.